Friendly greetings. I'm Torley with Linden Lab, and I'm here to help you understand land. It's all around us in Second Life. Land is important because wherever your avatar goes, travels, there must be land. And on land, you can do all sorts of things. You can set up a shop, like there's a store over there. You can set up a house if you want. You can build art sculptures. It's just basically a place for you in Second Life to enjoy yourself and perhaps share that experience with friends and others. Now, it's important to understand that land, it runs on our servers, and it's divided into units called regions. There's a certain number of regions that run on each server. Let's look at the world map here. And by the way, this isn't intended to be an all-comprehensive guide, but it's meant to get you up to speed. Some of these details may change in time. Just keep that in mind, but I'll try to keep things basic, fast, and fun. Now, you'll notice there are yellow and purple patches. This is because there's land for sale and there's auction. That means that Linden Lab, we auction off various land to residents, and you can go bid on it in our website. I'll show you that in another tutorial. And land for sale here, you see you can turn it off if you want to hide that, or on. This is handy if you want to come and buy land. As you can see when I zoom out the map, there's a lot of land for sale. Woo! It's quite a marked contrast. If you think the green dots, those are people, other avatars are too distracting, you can turn that off. Just see the land for sale. But anyway, what I was going to show you is you see these squares. There will be squares that flash. And each square here with a name on the lower left is a region. And each region is a little over 65,000 square meters. It's 65,536 to be precise. And that can be divided into parcels. And these here are parcels since they aren't a whole region. But even if there was a yellow one taking up the whole region, that would just be a very big parcel that takes up 65,536 square meters. Now, you may ask, how do I know how big a parcel is? Well, that's a fine question. You can always find out by clicking on the name of the region or the land. This is the land title. This is the coordinates of where you are within a region specifically. And this is the name of the region. So if you just go up here and click, it brings up About Land suitably. This has different information, which I will cover more in depth in another tutorial. And general, as you can see, the area of this particular parcel is a little over 5,300 square meters, so almost 5,400 square meters. In objects, this is important to know, because to put stuff, to put prims, primitive objects, on a parcel and build up a presence in Second Life, you need to place these down. And each parcel has a certain allocation of prims that you can't go over. It'll tell you parcel full when that happens. And I want to give you a demo of that too. It's always good to show you, right? So a total simulator a total region, total square on the map, each square on the map can have a total of 15,000 prims, all right? So say, for example, that divides into fractions depending on how big a parcel is. If you have a parcel of 4,096 square meters, that's a pretty fair to medium size, then that would have about 937 prims available, I believe. So right here we can see, since this one, let's see, it's like we said before, 5,392 square meters, that we're allowed up to 1,234 primitives. And let's see here. Let me find another useful illustration for you, I think. 512 meters is currently the allocation that's given to, included with your premium account. So when you have a premium account, you have a land tier, or a bonus rather, that allows you to purchase 512 square meters of land in world. And that in itself will give you a little more than 100 prims in allocation. Suitably, to show you, I'm going to use what we call the land sales search tool in Second Life. Right here, you see the search button. Just glows when I hover over it, and you can go ahead and click that. Right here is under the land sales tab. If this isn't clicked, if some other tab is clicked, just click this to select it, like that. And here we can search for different kinds of land. Now, you might be wondering, what are the types? There's auction, of course, like I explained before. That's when we, Linden Lab, we put land out there that you can bid on and acquire if your bid is high enough within the amount of time the auction takes place. And there's for sale mainland and estate. Now, what's the difference? The difference is mainland, it roughly comprises, and let me just turn these off to make it clear. The mainland are owned by, or is owned, rather, by Governor Linden. That's like a token name we use. And it's called the mainland just because it's very big. It's actually looks like several continents, although we make no such arbitrary distinction. Like if I were to go to Ahern, this is a bit tough to tell actually because these patches aren't loading clearly. It would be nice if they all loaded in to show you the actual forms. That should be an improvement. But something like Ahern is within the mainland. Now, how do you tell if something's within the mainland or not? There's a way to do that, and that's under the World menu, and then you can go to Region and Estate. And you want to look here at, let's see here. Oh, actually, it doesn't show you. Darn it. It should. It should show you the owner is Governor Linden, but I guess it doesn't show you that information. That's something I asked for a long time, but that would be handy. But this, in any case, it should help you distinguish between mainland and estate. Estates are special. Estates are special in that they're owned directly by residents, which means that if you buy land on them, it's more akin to a rental situation. You're like a tenant, and they'd be like the landlord. And they enforce something called a covenant, the covenant on each estate. And estates often look like single islands, although some may be joined together. Some are more formidable than others. Like if I go out here, okay, this would be an estate, and these would be estates. There's a lot of them now. There's thousands and thousands of them. So if they have a problem with you, they can just boot you out like that. It's important to be aware. A good relationship can be super, but when things go sour, just be careful of that. You'll notice in About Land, I click that again, there's a covenant. And, oh, actually, yeah, this is how you tell, pardon me. Estate mainland. This will tell you right up here if something is mainland or if it's private estate. So if I go and teleport to a private estate, to show you, say Crimson Island, and then if I go back here, and then maybe it will show a covenant. Oh, no, I've got to refresh that. There we go. See, it says estate, Crimson Island. Estate owner is a guy named George, 1875 Bailey. And there's no covenant here. So perhaps this land wasn't meant to be sold. It looks like it's a classroom of sorts. But as you travel around, I really recommend exploring a lot and getting a feel for things, because that's how you learn. That's how you understand, by doing. And if you look at various parts of lands and seeing who owns what, see, this is an estate again. And regions, there can be several or one or more regions within an estate. The estate, think of it kind of like the continent, and the region are the countries or individual chunks within the continent. It's not totally an accurate analogy, but it's a useful way to think. As I was saying, though, before we got sidetracked on a pleasant journey, you can search for land for sale. So I want to show you something that is 512 meters, which is typical for what's included with a premium account. So if I search here, okay, that shows me what's more than that. I need to search by size somehow. There we go. Now, it shows you what's for sale in a state. Now, the problem is this is not accurate. Okay, this is not what's actually being sold for. It's kind of tricky. Some would say deceptive. I wouldn't posit some of those strong words, but nevertheless, you have to be aware that this is like an ad to attract your interest, because it's a contractual agreement and the contracts are not upheld by Linden Lab. It's a private agreement between you and the resident who owns the estate. I need to be very careful to say that, because we don't have a say. Linden Lab doesn't have a say if something goes bad in that. That's why they're private estates. They give residents a lot of control and flexibility, and like I said, if it's good, it's great. If it's bad, then unfortunate. But if we change this to mainland, and just look for stuff on the mainland now, and then, okay, that's a good one. So Regarding Linden dollars per square meter, regarding prices like this, how do you know what the fair price is? There are several ways. One you can go to, there's a lot of websites. You can talk on different forums. You can talk with friends, because this is fluctuating. This is similar to the so-called real world in which it fluctuates. It goes up and down. And you want to make sure you don't get hoodwinked for something too high. But in any case, if you search here and look at what's low and what's high, some of this stuff is obviously not meant for sale. It's more used to advertise. There's things in here which aren't very helpful at all. If I teleport right now, so I click on it, I can click on any one of these. They're all 512 square meters. Ninja Land, that sounds fun. That's interesting. Looks like Final Fantasy art or something. So I'll teleport there. And here we go. We are teleported right on top of this parcel of land. And how do I know that? Because it says the title up here. There's a tree waving my way. It's a blocky gray tree. Let me move. And then when I click this now, notice that right here, this is the for sale icon. Okay, I'm going to cover buying in another tutorial, but if you click that, you notice it'll tell you all about that. And right here, it says general. Okay, it's for sale to anyone. Objects included in sale. That's another fancy thing I'll show you later. And so area, 512 square meters, right? And right here in the objects, it tells you it supports 117 primitive objects, which means that, see, since I can build here, I could build, that's one prim. And there's more complex objects that take more than one prim, right? So if I were to res 117 prims, then that would fill the parcel. And it tells me here how much is available. So it tells me there's 4 on right here. Okay, so let me just hide that for now. And I'll close that out. Remember that parcels can vary in all sorts of sizes. There's very small ones, which are unfortunately sometimes used to add spam. Others, some call them ad farms. We have interesting terminology, describe methods of online harassment. It's unfortunate. I don't like it myself. But of course, there's good ads too. Don't put everything under the same blanket because it won't fit. And there's big parcels. The biggest a parcel can be, of course, is the size of a whole region, which is 65,536 square meters. So this has been Torley Linden, and I hope you enjoy this video tutorial on the basics of what land is, why you might want to get some. Remember, it's just so much creativity. You can, I guess, be political like that, Hillary fan, or a rainbow kind of flag. You can put other things. It's important, too, on the mainland to be considerate of your neighbors. Be a good neighbor, just like in First Life, how you wouldn't suddenly throw your barbecue and let your dogs loose on your neighbor's lawn. You don't want to do that in Second Life either. Unfortunately, virtual equivalents to it do happen. It's bizarre at times, it's sad at others, but it's unpleasant overall. Here we have someone who's very artistic and they like to make a kind of rainbow prismy science worldy thing. There's all sorts of creativity going on in the mainland and the States. This land here is just trees. As you go from region to region, remember you can fly, you can enjoy the journey just by flying like that, or you can teleport from place to place at any time by opening the map and double-clicking somewhere or clicking somewhere and teleport. There's ways to get around. I've got other video tutorials for that too, you're just in luck. But all in all, this video tutorial about land and the basics of land is part of a series. So if you like this, you want to see the other ones. Search my video tutorials for land, and have a lovely day in Second Life.